Join me as you and I and you take a journey to become better writers together and geek out.
Howdy ho, neighbors. Here we are. We're all here. The written writ, late right. The gang's all in because we just finished having a great conversations in the green room. So I figured we'd just start off with everybody in the room, especially because we're about to have a bunch of fun.
Oh, I got moved up.
Have that one guy who like cuts the conversation and then expects everybody to resume once he finishes cutting it.
What?
What the hell are you talking about?
Everybody said, what was that talking about? So after what Nat said, we have Mark Torres from It Came From the Radio, and we have Chris Burgos from Tales Beyond. And Chris is our guest host, and Mark is our guest, and we're just going to have some fun and throw things on the board and see what happens.
Well, if Chris is the guest, shouldn't he be next to you and I should be over there?
So wait, you want to be you want Chris over here? But no,
because he's the guest host.
Right, but you're the guest.
Right.
So we're sandwiching you. We're tag teaming you.
Okay, all right. Gotcha.
See, you're surrounded by the written.
I'm the cream. I'm the cream.
You have to be the center of attention.
There you go. I know you're not used to it, Mark, but you know you're here. You're the guest, and we're going to be talking about your Kickstarter. 30 years in the making, which is amazing.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it amazing.
Dude, that's dedication. 30 years, bro.
Did it really take 30 years to get this off the ground? That's awesome.
After that much.
So 30 years to finally get to this point, yeah.
Wow.
Maybe even more, but I would say roughly 30 years, yeah.
For the three people who are watching us and probably don't know who you are, please enlighten us. Who are you, Mr. Mark Torres?
I am Mark Torres, a host of It Came From Radio, the official of the Big Apple Con, and I'm also the creator and writer of a Kickstarter campaign that's going on right now called Designated.
There you have it, folks. And of course, we all know Mark Torres because Mark Torres is our partner here at Bit and Apple. We all do the conventions together, you know, and we formed the family between It Came From the Radio, Kate Fox. You know, it's all become a nice group of people that go to the conventions and bring stuff to you. And we have a lot of fun doing it, especially when we're all together in the same place.
Indeed.
And
that happened.
We just finished coming from Terrificon, and we had a terrific time. It's a pretty good convention.
How terrific was it?
It was so terrific. No.
I was Nat, does it get to be as terrific as possible?
I feel like with a name like Terrificon, you have to be No, but it was a lot of fun. It actually felt like a comic book convention. You know, which made it even better. And it was great to see all the classic artists and writers that were there. It was great to talk to them. It was great to like reminisce about things, about comic books from the 80s and 90s. You know, it was a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, back in the green room, you were actually saying that it was a comic convention that felt like a comic convention.
Yeah. You know,
so I missed it, unfortunately, but tell me more about that.
It's so rare to see the industry guys in the conventions now, or for the industry guys to get proper
recognition.
Yeah, because you know usually it's like, oh, we have this star from this TV show, or that star from that TV show, or that, and then they go, oh, by the way, we have Dan Jurgens. You're like, what?
To be fair,
oh, I think you should have led with that.
To be fair, that's what sells the tickets, and they got to get people in.
That is true. And they had some great stars there. I'm not going to knock them.
I mean, one of our very own had some time. Ralph.
I'll put it up. Hold on.
There we go. So one of our very own had some time with one of the voice actors. I don't know what my computer's doing anymore.
Speaking of the devil, Shen goes, hey, guys, it was pretty fun.
It wasn't terrific fun. It was pretty fun.
It was pretty fun.
It should be called a pretty con.
Pretty con. That's
Can
not
you
very good
imagine
fun.
that you have to be this attractive to be into this convention?
Ooh, can you imagine? Are you?
So,
My ticket's free.
that is Erica. She voices Shinobu and a bunch of other anime voices. And Shen managed to have like a full 10-minute conversation with her.
Nice.
Oh.
Sadly,
That's
it wasn't
rare.
able to be
Yeah.
recorded because we don't have that kind of money. But
Handheld digital recorder, man.
no,
It's
they
nice
actually
to have it,
charged for that. It was
the
on the
Really?
pricing.
For the
Yeah.
digital recording?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I
Did
thought
they
you
really?
didn't have the equipment. Oh, they.
Okay.
Wow.
No, this is off of the camera. It's just that was I forget. I think it was like close to $60 for a video recording or like audio recording.
Wow.
Oof.
Dang.
Oof.
Yeah. So
Oof.
What?
yeah, so she
You
did
told me you were
a
pressed, right? It wasn't like a shout
No,
out,
we
right?
weren't pressed for this.
Ah.
Oh, that's right. Yes, yes. We went as fans and still did press.
Ah.
Let's see.
Oh, yeah. That is
Oh.
I believe it's a quote unquote official Shinobu print.
It looks like it. It's very pretty.
Yeah.
Well, it's in the pretty con, so
Exactly. It was a beautiful con.
it's
And
a
Jordan
beautiful
says
con.
also, "What's up, everyone? Hey, Jordan, how you doing?"
Hello, Jordan. Thanks for coming.
That was our resident Floofschmello there, who you should follow. But that was her with her highlight of the con.
Well, she had a blast. She had a lot of fun. You know, I gotta admit, you know, it was great to see everybody have. You know, Shadow had his fun. Shen had her fun. Nat had his fun.
I had fun. What? That doesn't sound right.
So,
Oh,
you know, in
snap.
case you guys don't know who
Oh.
Chris is going to introduce himself and talk about his stuff right now. Go ahead, Chris.
All right. Well, my name is Chris Burgos. I am a writer and editor for Tales Beyond. It's my own label. My comics that I put out are Teddies, which you see gloriously right there. I've got Vizards, which I just dropped about a month and a half ago. And Runt is another one of my stories. I've been writing for a couple of years and always looking to say hey to everybody. So say hey.
Yeah, you are. You do
Hi.
say hey to all of us.
I did. You know what? I've been told like I'm that weird creator that will talk to everybody that stops at my table, no matter what.
But that's the way
And so
you're supposed to be, though.
yeah, no, it's friendly, it's good. I've got people that are emailing me back and forth now, Facebook messaging me, asking me for advice on the industry stuff and everything, and I'm over here like, I'm brand new too, guys. What?
Dude, it bugs me out because there's some like creators that we go to their table, and it's like they're bothered by the fact that we're at the table. And you're like,
Makes no sense.
Selling your book.
Yeah, that kind of stuff makes no sense. I have very little patience for creators that don't have time for, fans or, could be fans, people walking around the cons, all that kind of stuff. If you're not willing to treat people with respect and make a fan, then what are you doing being a creator? I mean, aren't you trying to tell stories? Aren't you trying to get what's in your head out there for other people to, consume? So, yeah.
Oh man. It's so funny though, because we've had people where we go to, oh, let's go talk to them. Their stuff looks great, and then you start talking to them, it's like, do I have to talk to you? And like, oh dude, we want to give you press, we want to showcase your stuff. All right. And then you can, if you watch the interview, you can see the person and you can tell that they were like, I don't want to be doing that. And you're like, what the hell?
Yeah. It's behind
And
the eyes. It's in the back of the soul.
Oh my God. And the whole fun of it is, getting your stuff out there, talking to the fans coming in, trying to find out how they like your book, how they don't like your book. Mark, you're on the other end of the spectrum on this now, right? have you taken all that stuff and like put it into the book? Because you've learned a lot of stuff from doing all the interviews.
So the answer is no, because this book was written 30 years ago. So 30
Oh,
years ago,
sure.
Mark
Yeah.
didn't know any of that stuff. This is just starting out, Mark.
That's interesting. So do you feel like when you read the book, do you feel like you see more of 30 year ago Mark, or does it hold up like to you as you are now?
So I actually had to reread the entire story to
Makes
prepare
sense.
for going to the Kickstarter. And when I first reading it, my more critical mind now was asking lots of questions about my decisions of what I was making in the story. I was like, why did I do that? Why did I do this? Because I don't remember it, because I hadn't read it for
Right.
such a long time. And as I read the whole story, because it's a full story, beginning, middle, end, we're only doing
Mhm.
issue 1 right now, but in hopes we can actually get all the way to the trade, which is 5
Oh, cool.
issues, because it's all written. It's all written and all drawn already.
Mhm.
Excellent.
As I read it, questions were answered. And I was like, oh, that's why I did that. And it held up. So that was actually, it made me feel good that 30-year-old Mark's story holds up to current Mark's critical eye.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I've seen some projects that I wrote ages ago when I was a kid, and I look at them now and I'm like, what the hell was I thinking?
Yeah, I have some
But
of those
some of them
too.
do hold up.
I have some of those too.
Some of those do hold up, and I sit there going, I really do have to come back to this and bring it up and do something with it, because like you said, those are the stories we started working on. But wait, does this story have anything to do with Sunburst, or is this another story?
Completely different story. Actually, Sunburst was made. Actually, she was made about the same time, but it was completely two different things. So, the story goes as such. I went to a comic book school, the New York Academy of Comic Book Arts and Fantasy Illustration in Manhattan. At the
Nice.
time, which was in the 90s, the story was that for about $2,000 in the 90s, you can make your own comic book. And the discussion was at the time, because Image had just came out, because now we're hearing about creator-owned projects and owning your stuff and owning your rights, which is now more than ever the IP, but it wasn't called IP back then. It was, how do you make something that won't get stolen? How do you make something to get into the business? So the discussion was in the school was that if you really want to get into the business, you have to make something that you're willing to lose a piece of so you can get your foot into the door.
That's
And
how
then once you do that, you go, hey, I'm in here. This is my real project. Buy this instead. So I made up my superhero stories. I had all that done, but I didn't want to lose the superhero stories. So I came up with something that was anti-superhero. It was very a low-key thing, which I was like, at that point in time, it's like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm willing to lose to give this up. But then that just happened to be the one that was my creation. And over the years, just trying to get it done, I have more love and care for these characters than I do the original stuff, which I haven't even touched in 30 years.
Right.
So the Sunburst was one of the old characters that just managed to come through because I really liked how she looks. And she just became the mascot because she was very easy as my favorite character to see, to look at. And now with these other characters, this is the story. This is the baby I've been trying to ferment and finally get out.
So
I like
they
the
all
fact-
came from the same thought bubble, in a sense, like that same time period of when you were thinking of characters.
Right. So it was all superhero, and then what else do I got? I'm like, well, let's do something opposite. Let's go against the grain, because as they always say, well, they said it back then, they still say it now. You don't want to be the ones like, oh, there's another Batman movie. Let's all make something like that. Let's go the opposite. Let's do our own thing and have everybody follow us.
Exactly.
So since everything was over the top 90s extreme action, I felt do a drama with some action in it, very low key powers. So they're not even in the same universe.
Okay.
It's pretty cool.
And so that's sort of your basis for starting up Designated.
Right. So it was, what can I use to get my foot in the door? Let's do something completely against type at the time.
Right.
And it still holds up. And then because of my critical mind, all the questions was, why? Why does this happen? Why does that happen? Why does this happen? Why does this happen? So by answering those questions, I was able to get my story out.
Well, that's important because as a writer, it's one of the things we have to do is ask the question why. Because sometimes some people just go and start writing their story and they forget to ask the whys of what's going on, and then the story starts to lose its form, starts to lose itself. And and then people go, I don't know what happened, because I was writing the story. I'm like, did you ask yourself why? Did you ask yourself the questions you need to ask yourself? There's a bunch of stuff that you need in the story in order to get to where you're going to go. And if you stop asking those questions, your story's going to fall apart.
I remember that time in the 90s when all those creators left and they started Image and all that. It was exciting. It was a fan.
Yeah.
It was like the Wild Wild West. It was like, wow, I didn't think it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. And then the books were late as hell. Like, so I know it was like 10 months between issues. I'm like, oh well. So, but it was still exciting. It was still like really exciting, like the Spawn and the Wildcats and all that. It was a great time. As a
Battle
collector, as a
Chasers.
fan.
Yeah, Battle Chasers. Love Battle Chasers.
Chasers.
Oh,
Yeah.
love Battle Chasers. The little girl with the gloves, man.
Yo,
We're thinking up to
the
like
newest
3 issues
issue's coming out.
Really? Oh, wow.
The next
issue 4.
There is another issue. Number 9 is gonna drop. I think.
Hey,
next
we're
week.
actually talking about it recently. It popped up in my feed, and I was like, "Oh, so we're gonna continue to make Battle Chasers."
What was that comic?
We've waited long enough.
What was that comic by Humberto Ramos? That was the only one that came out every single month. That was the only one.
Crimson.
Yeah.
Crimson
That was the
a
only
great
book.
book, yeah.
Yes.
Humberto Ramos, that dude put in the work, man. It was
Yeah,
like
he put
every
in the
single
work.
month.
But Mark is talking the truth though, because now it's easy to, well, not easy, but it's easier to create your self-published stuff. In the 80s and 90s, you had to figure out how to get into one of the big guns, and they're going to steal your stuff because it's in the contracts. You had to figure out what to give them so they can pay attention to you, and at the same time keep all the stuff that you're actually working on in the background. And you got to be careful because sometimes the language of the contract was that whatever you created while you were with them, so it was like a dance back then. You had to figure out all the right moves to make in order to finally come out with your own piece, at least until Image showed up, and then it made it a little easier. But then at the same time, once the guys in Image made their money, all hell broke loose.
Oh, McFarlane tells a story. He tells a story like one guy put out an issue. Like when you put out something for Image, you owned everything. Like it wasn't like if you do something for Marvel, they give you like 30,000, whatever. You owned everything. So like one creator, like they would give him $50,000. Like he never seen $50,000 a check in his entire life because he owned it. So instead of putting out books, he started spending all that money, and then a year later, it's like the same thing happens with hip hop artists. They realize, well, you know what? You got to pay the IRS this amount of money. They're like, I better start making some more comics. Well, yeah, it's like, that was one of the things they learned along the way. Like,
So that's a question for you, Mark. You were there when creating was what it was back then, and now creating's different now. What's your opinion on both sides of this coin?
I always liken it to how TV and movies are being made now, because Netflix and distribution and everybody's scrambling for intellectual properties. They need content. So it's so much easier, but at the same time, there's so many more people out there. It makes it that much harder. So the balance is still there to get your stuff out. And if you think about it, if you have to look at how many movies are made on a monthly basis that come out. I worked at Blockbuster for 10 years, and I've seen tons of movies just come in as just one copy we used to get. And we actually had the filmmaker. He came into the thing. He's like, I got a deal with Blockbuster, and his little movie came in, and there was no promotion, but he was all excited. There's one little movie. But if you look on places, on websites now, you can see all the streaming services, how much stuff comes out on a weekly basis.
Exactly.
To make one movie, put all that effort and all that energy, and then it goes nowhere.
It's horrible. Yeah.
Back then, at least it won't get made. Now it gets made, but will it get even seen? That's the difference that I see. That there's more people out there, there's more people making stuff, there's more content, but it's still just as hard. And now, no one might not even see it, even if it does get made. Back then, if it gets made, you have a better chance of it getting seen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're completely correct, because it's funny, people go, oh, streaming this and streaming that, but I feel like when Blockbuster was still around, you saw more than you see now on streaming, because they have deals with certain companies and they stream whatever they have a deal with. There's movies I haven't seen in ages, and I'm like, dude, where are they? and they weren't like small budget movies; they were pretty big movies. It's been ages since I see certain movies, and they're not on any of the streaming services. It's funny, like it's like Cartoon Network. They own tons of property, and they show the same thing over and over and over and over. You don't see any of the older cartoons. You don't see any of that stuff that they've done before. Whatever they just want to show, whatever they want to show, and then they've lost the whole catalog that they have, because they're not showing any of it, and it's a kind of a loss.
Yeah, that's never fun. Give me my Samurai Jack back. Give me my Powerpuff Girls. Actually,
I mean, there is always pirating.
Yeah, but you have to find the stuff in order to pirate.
For that stuff, it's relatively easy.
Oh, no. See, I'm not talking about Powerpuff Girls or Samurai Jack. I'm talking about stuff like Top Cat, or things that just aren't.
You're talking about the Hanna-Barbera old school stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's easy.
They own all that stuff.
That's easy to find.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
you're looking at the superficial stuff.
It's not an HD, so it ain't for me.
Well, I'll say this for Warner Brothers. I think they try to at least put everything on DVD. You can at least find it. You can own it. They try to put at least everything. Disney is like, they're like, here's 4 episodes of Goof Troop. Here you go. And then they didn't. I think all these years they were just waiting for them to get Disney Plus to upload that content, because they never released anything on DVD. Like, even if you watch Disney Plus, like you want to watch some classic Mickey Mouse cartoons that they own. They own the rights to. Well, here's 4. Here's 4 Mickey Mouse cartoons. We've had from 1930 to. So I don't know.
Like, I'm here thinking you're talking about like French media, but like, no, you're still in like the common stuff. That's easy to find.
I don't know, because even
I could give you a site right now, Ralph.
No, like
even Disney right now.
If you want to watch it, you can watch anything.
There's certain shows that Disney won't show.
Yeah.
And they have the rights to them, and you haven't seen them. And if you're lucky, you might find 1 or 2 pieces of that, like Fillmore. Fillmore was one of the shows that they did.
I remember.
Great show in the 90s. It's difficult to find. You can find like 1 or 2 episodes, but if you for you to find the whole thing, because they never released it.
Yeah. No. Illegal wise, you can find anything. Illegal wise, you can find whatever you want. We're just speaking about legal wise and why.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's why people went into piracy.
But at the same time,
because it's easier to find.
But at the same time, it's ludicrous. Like, they own these things. Like, why don't they? I know when I was a kid, you can go home and watch like Disney cartoons all day, classic Donald Duck and all this stuff. You can watch that stuff all the time on TV. Now it's not like anywhere, man. Not like anywhere illegal. Like so.
Jordan is saying he gave Chris a follow, and he gave
Jordan
on the radio a follow. So
cool, thanks, Jordan.
Much appreciated.
He's also saying physical media is still my favorite way to go. 59 comics and counting on the way from now till the end of the year. Jordan's been building up his collection. We saw a little bit of all the stuff he has when he was on the show with us last time, and he's on his way to becoming a great collector.
Jordan does bring up an interesting point about physical media, because I forget what streaming service went down. It was either this year or last year that people had paid to get access to the library. And then when the site went down, they lost their access and they paid all that money. So physical is the way to go. And especially with what Netflix is doing with the Stranger Things, that they're editing the content that's aired and they're retroactively editing. So if you saw something and they changed it on you and you didn't want the changes, if you have the physical copy, they can't change that.
Yeah, Disney Plus does that too.
That reminds me of the Star Wars. Weird. You can't watch Star Wars the way we watch Star Wars. Lucas has went back and meticulously changed all that stuff. And if you have any of those original copies of the movies, you're lucky, because you can't see it the same way anymore.
I think the most pristine versions of Star Wars that are available are still VHS versions. It's the last versions that they came out with, the special editions, right before the DVD releases. And there was like right before Lucas went in there with his grubby little hands and started tinkering. And it's like VHS.
I mean, I didn't have a problem with the special editions in that, that like, I didn't see any of the movies as a kid in the theaters. My parents wouldn't let me see Star Wars. They said, "Oh, we think it's too scary." So it was an opportunity for me, as I was older, to go see them in the movie theaters. But at the same time, why take away the older editions? Like why not have both versions out? So
Because
That's a
he's
good
a
question.
perfectionist.
One of the things that stinks about physical media right now is you guys have heard about the way that DVDs and disc-based gaming and everything like that, they're burning out now.
Yeah.
After 20 plus years or something, the code just starts, dying on the disc. So even now, it's like your physical media is not safe. Oh yeah.
But like that's the whole reason
I think they
why
call it disc decay.
Wow.
But that's the whole reason why these like emulator servers and the piracy bays are so vivid, because that's where people have been storing them. That's where people have been keeping the records of them. Like the further we go down this rabbit hole, the more people are going to end up going down one of the two ways. Either you're going to care enough that you're going to start pirating and you're going to start going into the quote unquote niche groups that have been saving all of these, or you're just going to stop caring at all. Like that split's already happening now.
It is true. We are going in a certain direction, and it's getting more difficult to like own stuff, because like Mark was saying before, now if something happens, you don't own it anymore, and you don't have any receipt of ownership. It's like, well, you used to own it, but that's because you were with them. Now you have to buy it all over again, which is one of the reasons why MP3 music has always been funny with me, because when you had a CD, you had a CD. You had a tape, you had a tape. You had a record, you had a record. It was yours. You can listen to it anytime you want. And the only time that it hurt was when you lost the record, you lost the tape, or it broke, or something happened to it. Now it's like, oh, you're on Apple. You own this music.
It's like you basically have a library card, is what you have.
Exactly.
You basically have a library card. You can check it out, but
So, Mark, we're going to play your video here to hear a little bit about what you're saying to the fans about your Designated.
Past Mark explains everything.
Exactly. Here we go.
Yappa toy, and welcome to the Designated Kickstarter promotional video. This is your narrator, as well as the creator of Designated, Mark Torres speaking. As we scroll through some pages, penciled by Jay Smith, with inks by Marvel and DC's very own Peter Palmiotti, with a cover by Babe artist Francesco, also inked by Peter Palmiotti, I will tell you a little bit about the book. Designated is a 5-issue miniseries that tells the tale of two warring alien races, the peace-loving Forlorns and the warlike Duronians, fighting over a newly discovered power source, the Capricious Star. This war finds its way to Earth, and our 5 heroes, Natasha, Kelly, Chris, Adam, and his younger brother Ed, not only wind up caught in the middle, but each gaining powers as a result. Designated has been a passion project of mine for almost 30 years. It is a full and complete story, over a 5-part series that is, and all 110 pages have already been written and penciled. With your support, you can help us get issue 1 colored, printed, and sent directly to you. Now, what Kickstarter campaign would be complete without perks? Not this one. We have a few items, such as digital and physical copies of the book, trading cards, original artwork, and few high-end collectors out there, custom-made 5- and 6-inch clay figurines of the main characters by clay sculptor Shadow Rabbit. You can see more of his finished stuff at www.shadowrabbitart.com. As I have said countless times on my syndicated radio show, It Came From Radio, which can be heard on both terrestrial and online radio stations, as well as on over 40 different podcast places. If you're unable to financially support this project, like and share it on your social media platforms. Maybe someone else you wouldn't even know about it will be able to help and be part of making this book a reality.
That was fantastic. I like how nice and smooth that was.
That took
Dude,
so
that artwork was
long.
solid.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The artwork was done 30 years ago. It still holds up to this day.
You mean
Like
that
I was
artwork-
saying on like I was saying on Monday when we played
Where-
the video, the hands were fantastic. Every time I was looking at all the hands drawn, the hands are great.
So is that your
Hold up.
own art, or is that?
Wait, Chris is surprised. What do you got?
Yeah.
I'm
got the
sorry.
same thing
I
from
thought you
Sulfur.
said you read it. I thought you said you wrote it 30 years ago.
I
But
wrote
the
it.
artwork is 30 years old?
Yeah, I wrote it 30 years
Wow.
ago. A friend of mine, his brother, was like, "Yeah, I'll draw it for you," and he drew 110 pages. It took him, I think, like
Wow.
2 years to do it.
Wow.
And after he finished the 2 years, I had him go back to because he got better as he went along doing the artwork. So I had him go back to the first issue and redraw a couple of panels and pages from the original first 22 pages. So it's actually mixed in there. And then we had Peter, he inked most of the first 22 pages. And now he's doing it. Now he's inking the rest of the 88.
But dude, man, that looks like art that you can find now.
Yeah, it's really it
it
holds up.
definitely
That's what I'm saying.
holds
The art holds up and the story holds up. So I'm like, all right.
Yeah. It's
So
got
we're
a
gonna ask,
definite 90s vibe. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I like to say it's set in the 90s. It's set in the 90s.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing. Like, if you looked at the book, you wouldn't. You just feel like the art was set in the '90s, but it was, because it doesn't have like a '90s complete feel. It just has like the art may have influences in the '90s. There you go.
Yeah.
There
Dude,
are a
this thing
couple
looks
of
like it could have been made today.
there are a couple of pages that date it. She's listening to an answering machine on the phone. Her
Oh,
TV is not a flat screen. There's no cell phone.
Okay.
Small things like that. You're like, all right, this is not.
Just say you were inspired by Stranger Things. You'll get some traction.
So I have to say it was set in the 90s, or I can say I wrote it 30 years ago. It was drawn 30 years ago.
mhm.
Dude, this
No.
this piece
You
here
need the
looks
traction.
fantastic.
You were inspired by Stranger Things to relive your childhood. There you go.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I
he went
gotta
to school. He went to school with the Duffer Brothers, and he read their fanfic. He's like, 30 years ago. Oh, this is good.
Mark, this piece of art right here looks fantastic.
So
Yeah,
that
I'm
is
telling you.
art by Babe artist Francesco. He was most famous for doing a Savage Sea Dragon. He's still out there doing some high-end quality work. We're 98% sure that the cover is going to be tweaked a little bit because he wants to rework it. So that's
Mhm.
it's not the final version.
Oh, okay. It looks fantastic now. So I
But
can't wait to see.
that's inked by Peter Palmiotti as well, which is the only time Francesco has ever been inked by anybody else.
Ooh. Well, we got a lot of firsts here.
Yeah.
I like how vibrant this cover is, though.
Yeah.
It really is. And of course, here come some of the pages. Yeah, dude, this
Who
art.
did the colors?
The colors is by my former co-host Hassan Godwin. He's a colorist. He's a artist, writer, inker in his own right, and he works on Secret of the Sire. That he has his own show now, but he used to be my co-host for Came for Radio, who I met at the comic book school 30 years ago.
Solid colors, bro.
Dude, I saw the
Really
name
nice.
at the finish of the Kickstarter, and I was like, "Is that the same Hassan I know?"
That's the same Hassan you know, yeah.
Oh wow, Chris, you were gonna say?
Oh no, wasn't gonna
Oh,
say
okay.
that. I just said it was solid, real
Okay.
solid. Like I was looking at it, like, yo, man, this. I really dig the artwork, and I can't wait to read the story.
That's a definite, man. And then it's pretty affordable, because look at this, $15 for the physical copy, and you get the digital copy. That's pretty decent right there. Most books sell at $20, so.
Well, it is only just a 22, but since it is finished, I mean, since all 110 pages are written, we can if by some miracle we make a couple of stretch goals, we can give you the second issue, third issue, fourth issue, and even the trade if we make it, because it's there. It's physically here. The hardest part is already done. It's just we need to get it finished, colored and lettered, and then Pete's already working on the inks as it is.
That's amazing. So that means that if you guys support this, the rest of it's going to come at it, and if we make enough money, then it would kind of like make itself.
you would get a trade instead of 22 issues. So if we make a certain amount, we'll release the second issue, and then you get issue 1 and 2. And you don't have to do anything extra. You already get it, issue 1 and 2.
Oh man, this stuff looks great. I like what you have here. I like all the little tiers. Of course, I love the fact that you have a Shadow Rabbit tier.
Yes. So you get. Hold on, I get it.
Oh yes.
You get a 5-inch
made by our good friend, Mr. Shadow Rabbit Blue from Shadow Rabbit.
Yes.
Oh, Sunburst. Woo!
So this is a 5-inch figurine.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to pick any character from the book. You had the main characters of the evil alien, and they're all custom handmade. So you can make whatever position and pose you want, but it comes out like this. This is the 5-inch one.
And Shadow Rabbit does amazing work.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. Dude, when I saw this tier, I was like, damn. And you got the other one here. The other one he's made for you. You haven't been able to get this one yet, right?
Oh, the big one? No, I haven't gotten the big one yet. Oh, you mean that particular image? I have not gotten that image yet. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know we did it for the big Apple Bite show, and we just got ours recently. So it's
no longer recent enough. It's been a year.
Yeah, it has been a year. Here we go. Here goes mine that was made for me from the whole Apple Teeny thing. I am Rafael Torres. You killed my father. Prepare to die. This is fantastic. He does a fantastic job with these pieces.
Indeed, he does.
I can show you mine. I got mine.
Oh, he has his this time.
That's awesome.
Next to the
Yeah, right behind me. I'd have to run and go get it. I got it right behind me this time. There's Spider-Man.
Yeah, I saw you change things around.
Yeah. You want to see a trick? Watch this. Watch this.
Uh-oh. Oh, you're going to show the metal thing? Hold on.
Yep, there you go. Oh!
No, we couldn't see it.
I'll put it higher. Put it higher.
Okay.
You see it there? There you go.
Oh, it's a magnet.
He's got magnets? Shut up.
Yeah.
Oh. Shadow is amazing.
I did not know Shadow made those stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
Dude, you got to see the ones where the eyes glow or there's fire coming out.
He does some amazing stuff.
Oh, yeah.
No, because he just finished up a statue for Teddy's.
Go ahead, keep talking about it.
Yeah, no, he just finished a statue for Teddy's or whatnot, but he didn't tell me about none of these premium options. What?
Doesn't he always say whatever your imagination is?
Exactly.
I was surprised myself. I was like, what? It got magnets? I was like, what? These little.
That's so
I'll put it on the kitchen.
Hold up.
I'll put
Light
it on
up
the kitchen.
eyes.
He's also not limited by age or PG ratings.
Exactly. Which is
I
funny.
like how you put
some
that.
stories.
He's just to quote him, "I'll do whatever your imagination is as long as you pay for it."
Exactly. You said it just like him too. Dude, look at this. He made this fantastic teddy for Chris. It looks look at it.
Yeah.
I'm in love with this thing.
It's fucking awesome. Now I'm gonna tell him to turn the hammer into a blowtorch or something in the back. I don't know.
That might be difficult in the state of New York, but
Put a little lighter in there, be all good.
Yeah, exactly. Look.
Yo.
Thanks, Jordan.
Yeah. That's why I love when people have Shadow Rabbit tiers, because these are, dude, your imagination, it's all what your imagination can come up with, and he'll create it, and he does a great job with this stuff. Yeah. Let's see. Back to the Kickstarter. Though I gotta admit, for a project that's 30 years in the making, this thing looks like it looks great.
It looks like it was inspired by Stranger Things.
Which
Yeah,
is, which is
funny you mentioned that. I went to the comic book school with the Duffer
Uh,
30 years ago.
That'd be great.
We went to the New York Academy of Comic Book Art and Film.
Oh my God.
But you know who was one of my teachers there? Russ Braun, from who does The Boys, the penciler. He was one of my
Ah.
teachers there.
Cool. Nice.
The guy who's really anti-superheroes.
Oh man. Jordan is telling us something, so I'm gonna go up on this thing and and if you notice,
we got a little jump. Yes, we did.
yeah. So Jordan has
Ooh.
helped you.
Yes, thank you very
He
much.
supported it. He's going. Not sure if you noticed, but the money has moved up a bit closer to his goal, and the backer number has moved up by 1. Wink, wink. He said, I thought I'd show my support a little bit further by doing so.
Yeah, appreciate
Jordan,
it.
you're a
Man.
great guy.
Jordan's awesome.
Yeah. Dude, when he was on the show, it was great to have somebody who was a fan of everything. And he's a fan, and he started off by being a fan of Source Point Press, and oh my God, their stuff is fantastic. So good. So he has good taste. Oh man. Oh wait. Let's go back down because I know there's some other tiers. Oh, hold on.
Yeah,
You gotta go down to the $200 tier.
Yeah. There we go. Do.
So
Dude, this stuff looks great.
with this being issue 1
Yes.
and all the other issues being completed,
Yes.
is it possible that if, say, let's say we have a Mr. Beast come in and just fully fund your whole
Ooh.
project?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. We have the ability right now. What we did was we have a stretch goal, and we have other ones already set up. But I want to work on one stretch goal at a time as opposed to having them all out there in one shot.
Right.
So
Makes sense.
it is possible that with this campaign, you can get issue 2, issue 3, issue 4, and the trade.
Dude, that's different. But that says a lot, though. Dude, if you guys help him out and get him all the way to where past where he needs to go, get some more money in, give him a great support, they can release everything in one shot. And you're not only going to get one issue, you're going to get a trade paperback.
Yeah, and if we get the trade, we get a high-end mystery cover artist.
Ooh, I like this.
Is it Rafael Tavares? I hear he's pretty.
Dude, if Rafael Tavares is the cover artist, I'll give you money to buy it, but not because I want you to buy it for me. It's just so it doesn't happen.
We're in negotiations right now, so we should, if it gets there, we should be able to secure a high-end Marvel and DC artist, high-end.
You're hearing it here.
Mystery.
Help this thing
That's
get
awesome.
funded because there's a lot of reasons why it should be. I see you got the add-ons too as well.
If you go back, you can get a whole battle diorama.
Yeah, you get the whole battle diorama of all the main characters, a big fight
That's
scene,
fire.
or you can get a 12-inch character as
There
opposed
you
to
go.
a 5-inch.
You see it here. Yeah. So yeah, Rabbit is very good at making these dioramas. I don't know if you've seen them, but he actually can put a comic scene into one of these little plastic cases, and it looks really dynamic and amazing. I don't know how he does it. It blows my mind. I've watched him do it, and I still don't know how he does it.
The biggest one I seen was his Batman Who Laughs for the Joker wedding.
Oh yeah, that was a great one.
That one was huge.
Mm-hmm. That was fantastic.
What amazes me about him is just how fast he works.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like he does it on the spot. I was on a show with him last year or whatnot, and he's middle of the show. He started up putting something together. By the end of the show, 45
my
minutes
show.
later. Oh, yeah, there we go. That's it. Yo, that was incredible. I was like, yo, 40 minutes.
Yep.
He's done.
Yeah, the cutest thing was like at CradleCon, like a 12-year-old girl just told him, "You have a gift." It's so cute. And I was like, "Oh yeah, wow."
That's why, dude, these tiers are fantastic. Guys, do yourself a favor, pick up one of these higher tiers. I don't know if you can pick up the 1,000 one, but you can do the 220 one and get yourself a nice clay figure. But this is a whole battle diorama thing here, so you might want to do 1,020. And you get
Oh
the
no, I
comic.
just want to do $1,000 for a shout out. That's all I want to do. I don't want to.
Well, you can do it. You can get a shout out if you want to support this thing on a lower level. You can actually get a shout out on the show, right? Right, Mark?
Yep. Starting, I guess when the campaign's over, so starting in September, the September shows will have extra shout outs. We do that with our Patreon, so I figured I would throw that in there for anybody who wants to back the project.
There you go. And of course, we all know that, you know, if you can't back it up by doing buying the book or anything, you can always back it at $1 or $2. Every little bit helps. And if you don't have the money, dude, share it.
Yep.
You don't know how much sharing helps. You know, I know we talk about it on the show all the time, but maybe you can't do something, but the person you share it with might be able to do something with it. They might have the money. They might do something, you know.
And not for nothing, $1's a lot.
Dude, yeah.
Some people, $1 is a lot. You know, you get the something with the dollar menu or support a campaign, you get something from the dollar menu. You know,
exactly.
I'm telling you, $1's a lot. So sometimes just hitting that button to share it and say, hey, I saw this really cool thing. Maybe somebody else can help it be a reality. That's something that I've been saying all the time. Let people know about it.
Because it helps so much, you know. Passing the word on helps so much. It gets new customers in. Maybe you don't think they might, but who knows? They might. Yeah.
Or they might also share it. That's the other thing.
That's the other thing. Yeah.
The grassroots movement.
Exactly. Ooh.
And that is our first stretch goal. Is that you get since we know a whole bunch of independent creators, you get 6 PDFs. Of the comics, a total of 202 pages if we make our goal. So then when we hit that goal, then the next stretch goal will be released, which would be we're able to give you issue 2.
These are some great books.
Yeah. And it's all for free. Once again, once you hit a stretch goal, you get all that stuff, provided that you do the, you know, digital for digital, physical for physical. We're not going to get you a physical book if you only bought the digital.
Right.
That's only fair.
Man.
A total of 202 pages. That's amazing. So we got to get them to that stretch goal, and then we want to see what the other stretch goals are, and then we want to see who's doing the art on the special stuff. Come on, people, we got to make this happen.
Could it maybe?
So let's see what we got
Jim
here.
Lee? What?
Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, Tall Tales, Tears of the
Those are all the
Moment,
different books you get. Yeah.
Oswald Chronicles #1, The Edge #1, Storm Chasers. Ooh. And Memoirs of an Angel. These are some good books. Oh, look at this handsome double here.
It's Mark Torres from It Came From the Radio, who is also the writer and creator of Designated. Amazing. How did you get him to work on this project?
I talked to him 30 years ago, and he was like, "Yeah, I think it's a good idea." I was hanging out with the Duffer Brothers. And, there was this guy in the corner. He's like, "Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's make a book."
That's a good thing you talked to him, man. You made all this stuff possible.
All right, so do you guys remember? Do you guys remember the there was a special effects Coca-Cola commercials for football players, and that they went into like this machine and they came out like zombie people. It was a commercial ad about 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Is it like Thriller or something?
It was so it had like kind of like Thriller, but they were like football stars, and they went to this machine and they came out as like zombies and different things to promote Coca-Cola. That was the guy who ran the school.
Oh wow. Okay. That's pretty good. Dude, like I feel like I kind of heard of this school back then, especially when I was looking to figure out how to get into comics. And
I think you've actually talked to the guy who ran it.
There you go.
Carl Pacino. He also did the Celebrity Deathmatch. I know you've met him.
Oh yeah, I've talked to him a bunch of times.
That was his school.
Dude, we talked about his school I don't think we talked. Well, did we? I think we talked to him off the record and on the record about the school. So yeah, okay.
I probably wasn't there.
No, this is before your time.
Man, imagine being so young that Ralph talking to certain people in the industry is before my time.
Yeah. We actually ran into him recently at WinterCon. Mm-hmm. And I said hi to him, but I don't know if you were there with me when I did.
Probably not.
Yeah, because he was at the last WinterCon.
So was I. I just only went for one day.
Yeah, no. I'm just trying to remember. Dude, this project looks fantastic. I like all the stuff you have. I can't believe you got Peter on it.
Peter Palmiotti, that is
he
Jimmy
knows
Palmiotti's brother.
I know.
They are related, and I want to give a condolences. He had a death in the family. That's why he wasn't able to be with us today's stream. But yeah, he's been really working hard and pushing on it, and it's interesting how he did it. He did the first issue almost all 22 pages, 30, 20 somewhat years ago, and now he's coming back to it. So it's kind of like he's finishing what he started. It's kind of a nice little touch to it.
It's a homage, yeah.
That's cool.
That is really cool.
Is it really a homage? Is he's just coming back to do the same thing?
He's reprising his role.
There you go.
That sounds a lot more like it.
He's reprising his role.
And what's cool is that the pages look like the same. So his talent, he was able to match himself. So even though he's grown over the years, you have to, when you go back, you have to match what you did previously so it all looks consistent. Or else you're going to have like one page looks like Jim Lee and one page looks like, I don't know, give me an artist. Gary Frank. There's going to be two different styles. It's like, what the hell's going on here? But he's so consistent. Yeah, Liefeld, exactly.
Oh, man. Well, that's fantastic, because, that takes talent in order to copy your own self, 20, 30 years ago.
So I think he got involved. Let me see if my math comes correctly. I think he got involved around the 2000s. So it's about 20 years for him. It's 30 years.
20. Okay.
Yeah.
Still a lot of time.
Still a lot of time.
Wow.
Yeah. Because you change in 20 years. Your style changes in 20 years.
Not only that, but like a lot of things, sort of your passion sort of changed within 20 years.
That's
so
true.
how did you manage to keep that passion for this series going for that long?
Good question.
The secret is I made the radio show to get my book published.
Oh, that's right. You told me that before.
So I always wanted to get a book published. I didn't know back then when I was a kid, 40 years ago. 40 years ago, Mark didn't know about any of this stuff. 40 years ago, Mark thought that the artist was the person that wrote the stories, that created the characters. He did not know that the writer was the one in charge. And that's what I learned in the comic book school, that it's the writer that does the work. That's the writer that creates the characters. It's the writer that does all the stuff, and it tells the artist what to do. And I also found out that I was a better writer than I was an artist. And I also found out that I draw like an inker, I was told. So that's how that came to be. And so one day, 20 years ago, so I've been trying to get the comic done since I've been in the comic book school, but 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago, because it was 2003, February 14th, around that time.
Right.
That's how I got into it. I heard an ad on the radio about, hey, if you have a passion and you want to talk about people in the industry and want to network, get yourself a radio show. I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea, because then I'll network and meet some people in the business and therefore get my comic book published.
Boom. Dude,
so I actually managed to get a comic published with Mariana Sezia, the Phaser Independence crossover issue 2 with my character Sunburst, who's officially, she actually got published. She's actually out there. That was in 2010, I believe, but it still wasn't my character. It was just a crossover. Right. So it's still burning inside. Like, all right, I can get this done, and I can do this. So over the years, I've been trying to get it done, but it's still costs and life and circumstances that just make it really hard. But now, sad to say, thanks to a global pandemic, Kickstarter is now a viable option to put stuff out. Because there's a boom in the Kickstarter world, and crowdfunding world.
Very true.
Dude, that's passion, dude. That's following your dream, dude. I feel like a lot of people can learn from that because, I remember that you told me that you started the radio show because you were trying to get your book published. This is a conversation we had a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's passion. That's getting your stuff done, man. I feel like a lot of people can learn from that. Keep your dreams going, people, because, that's the whole point. Keep moving forward. Keep making it happen. And it's fun. You mentioned something that I feel like back then in the 80s and 90s, when it came to writers, because it was difficult for a long time trying to figure out how to become a writer in comics, because it was like a secret. Nobody talked about the writer, you know. And it's funny that the school actually taught you that, because even at that point, it was like, writer, what's that? It was all about which artist was on the book, you know. Even though there was times where you knew Chris Claremont was writing, but at the same time, you know, it was all the partnership between Chris and John. And that says a lot that I can name one person from the 80s who was writing. Now I know who was writing back then, but you know, back then it was like, name a writer. Chris Claremont.
I had John Byrne and Peter David. Those are my two.
Yeah.
Well, Peter David is my favorite writer, still to this day. It's hard for writers to break it. It's very hard. Like a lot of things that people don't know. They don't know how to make a comic book script. They can make a script, but it's not an actual comic book script that breaks down panels, things like that. You send something like that, that's not a comic book script to Marvel, they'll just toss it out right away. So it's not, they'll throw it out right away. Like, you know, I talked to Don McGregor one time, and he told me that he would get like tons and tons of scripts. Like they would just wait till a certain, you know, when they piled up, when they had a giant box, and then they would just go through all these scripts. And I asked, did you ever hire a new writer from all scripts? It's like, no. So it's really tough for writers to get in.
How long ago was that they were even taking solicitations like that?
Well, yeah, DC doesn't even take solicitations anymore. No. So
yeah, none of them do, right? Like
Yeah,
I know DC for a fact doesn't. I'm Marvel.
Back then they used to
I
buy
know.
stories. I remember they used to buy stories.
Yeah, Sobolski was the guy that he would take in scripts from people, and Marvel had a big initiative, but now he's the editor. I don't think he's doing it. So, you know, now he's the editor in chief. So, you know,
and when I'm saying 80s and 90s, they used to accept scripts because that's how you had the fill-in issues. Sometimes they had somebody they bought a script for, and it was they fill in this because somebody was late, because deadline was the most important thing back then, which, you know, that's not the case anymore now, but that's how it was.
I think it was like 2000. I'm gonna say 2002, 2003 when DC stopped taking scripts. We stopped taking any new scripts. They stopped hiring new writers. So they're still hiring new artists, you know, but new writers is very difficult. You have to be established already.
That's why
even if you just wrote a novel or a book, you know.
Both Marvel and DC had one of these where you know, they told you exactly what you needed to do in order to send the stuff into them.
And that also doesn't necessarily mean that they will buy it. That means just what you need to do to get it in there.
Exactly.
And it's like anything. A lot of times it's who you know, and you know who you meet. If you're lucky, who you're related to. All those things come into play in every field.
Oh man, but I really love the fact that you've actually worked your butt off to get this to where it is now.
But I have to say, if you pull that up at the bottom, my graphic designer.
Okay, hold on a second.
None of this would be possible without her work, because she designed that whole page. She did an amazing job. She even designed my logo. She designed everything. So without her, this could not be possible. That's one thing you don't know. You don't know what you don't know until you know it. So when circumstances happened that I had to do this myself, there was a lot of stuff I didn't know, and she came through for everything.
It's funny, Mark, you're actually saying the thing, because when I was started to work on getting Hugbert made, there was all this information that I thought I already knew, and then you sit there going, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And and I know, Chris, you too, you know, you've done your books as well. So there's this whole process that you've realized after the fact that, wait, I didn't know any of this.
Oh, yeah. When I was putting out my first book, I remembered I had the book put together. I didn't have a title graphic or font or anything. And I'm like, okay, book's ready to go. Wait a second, something's missing here. I was like, oh, fudge. So yeah, and I ran out to one of my good friends. Happens to be at the time he was a graphic designer for, I think, the NHL.
Yeah.
Now he's one of the lead art directors at the NFL or whatnot. So he does like Super Bowl logo and stuff like that. But I remember getting it back from him, and I'm like, okay, that'll do. Now I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh, that's. I can tell you're a sports guy. But in all fairness to Justin, because Justin, I do love your stuff no matter what it is. He's also the guy that created the logo for Tales Beyond in general. So
that's a good logo.
I mean, yeah. I can't say enough about the logo. Like he smashed it out of the park for it. So, and I'm gonna definitely go back to him, with more work or whatnot. But yeah, like something as simple as that. I didn't know. I forgot about it. Let me just see if I can. No.
And you can see, because you're both mentioning the same thing. You're like, well, it was the same thing for me. All ready to go. I'm ready to go. And then you sit there and go, wait a minute, this looks fun.
What's missing from this?
Exactly. And then it's funny because people look at it and go, oh, it's a comic, it's easy to get made. No. I know you guys look at the Kickstarter and you see how much money the people are asking for, but that's not even saying all the money that's been put into the project before that to make it happen.
Well, that's actually something I want to ask you, Mark.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to Kickstarter, I don't know how many of you guys have dropped anything on Kickstarter. I have not. I am scared out of my mind to do the Kickstarter route, like because it's it's not guaranteed, and it's one of those things. Right now, I believe it's the #1 publisher in the world as far as comics go, but that's got me like shaking in my boots. How confident were you going into it for this Kickstarter, Mark?
Not at all. I was supposed to go with a publisher, and we split ways. So I was like, all right, so can I do it myself? That was the question. And there's 3 different ones right now. There's Indiegogo, Kickstarter, and then there's Zoop, which is the brand new guy, which is Zoop. I interviewed the guy with Zoop. They will do all that stuff for you, but since they're small, you have to bring the crowd to them. And they don't take as much fees as Kickstarter does. What I did not know about Kickstarter, which is something that no one had told me, I had to find out on my own once you go, doing all your research, that there is beyond the 10% that they take off the top, there is a per backer transaction fee that they keep.
Wow.
What?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. There is.
So
I got this from some of my friends.
So for every $10, they keep 55 cents per person. For every $15 is 65 cents. For every $25 is 95 cents. It's not a lot. But if you have a lot of backers, it adds up. So you have to keep that in mind when you're setting the prices.
Yeah.
And one of the weird things is that you look at some of these campaigns and you see that they only need $500, they need $1,000. My actual need is $6,128 to get this book done.
I noticed you were precise with that.
That's considered high, but it's what I actually need. So one of the things I found out through a lot of research is that a lot of people lowball their goal so they can make the goal and then hope to actually make what they really need afterwards.
That's why you see a couple of Kickstarter projects that are $500 or $1,500. That
for
way,
a comic book.
Yeah.
Like if they haven't made a comic book, it does not cost $500.
No. They just want to make sure that it happens. That way, they can keep that money and they keep whatever other money that's made. Yeah. So
that's right. Because in the case that they don't make the goal, it all goes back.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
But Indiegogo is different, but like with Kickstarter, that's how it is. So that's it's like, what is it, the world's worst secret?
Now it is, but
well, I've heard I've heard this for a while.
Yeah.
So if you plan to make your comic at a loss for the first issue or second issue, and then you build the following and blah 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 blah, by the third or fourth or fifth issues, then you're doing what you actually cost to make the book. Like how much it costs to make a comic book. I know how much it costs to make a comic book.
Yeah.
You go on the Kickstarter, you're like, that can't be for that price. That can't be what that is. And if you remember, that's what Kickstarter was supposed to be for.
Yeah.
But now it's all about algorithms and the switches and all that kind of stuff. So It's not confident at all going in, but I have to do it. So let's see what happens.
That's one of the tricks they teach you is to go lower than you need. That way you get that funded, and then you keep pushing for the higher amount that you actually need. And that's one of the reasons why when we're talking about Kickstarters here on the show, I always say you want to try to at least double the money of any Kickstarter, because then they're in a more comfortable place. Because there's more money that's needed than what they're asking for. and I always say the same thing: nobody makes money off a Kickstarter unless you're really going up there in the higher numbers.
Yeah, y'all just scared me off of Kickstarter.
But
No, it's a great
a way
tool.
to get it. It's a great. It's a way to make
Just
it
make
happen.
money, yeah. Just make money.
I don't know, Nat. I think you're trying to get some people in trouble.
But if you do Indiegogo, you can keep what you get. So
Right.
that might be the better route for you.
Yeah. It's just that Indiegogo, for some reason, is harder to get funded, and I think it's because the crowd knows that even if you don't make your goals, they don't get their money back.
Yeah. Yeah, if you get an
yeah.
Indiegogo, if you give to Indiegogo, you get charged right away. If you give to Kickstarter, they don't charge you.
Wait
They say
until
they'll
the end
say,
of
yeah,
the
well,
campaign.
this campaign is funded, we're charging you, or this
Mhm.
campaign wasn't funded, we're not charging you. So, but
Which is another
Indiegogo,
thing.
they'll take it from you right away.
Which is another thing where we tell people when the Kickstarters are happening, dude, this money doesn't come out of your account until like 30 days from now, or
Mhm.
whatever the time is. So,
Yeah.
support, help them get funded. Come on, because they're not pulling the money out right away. You can you have a chance to build to that money if you don't have it at the moment, because it doesn't get pulled off until until it's funded and the time ends. Because if it doesn't fund, then the money never comes out of your account. So, fund, help people
That's a
fund,
gamble.
help support. Kickstarters are important.
I've had some that I've given to, and I'm like, yeah, I'll give you just help out. Yeah, this is never getting funded. And then 30 days later, no. Congratulations, but no.
Karma.
I know, right? Yeah, that's karma.
That's funny. I'm never gonna get funded.
One of the other dangers.
And
is
then you
that-
have other times where you think, oh, this is definitely getting funded, and then nope, it doesn't happen. It's
Yeah.
one of those things, So
Mhm.
Well, of course, the worst case scenario is that something does get funded and you never get the product.
Oh
that
yeah.
has happened,
That's
yeah.
happened.
And
That
there's
happens a
like
lot.
nothing, and there's nothing they can do about it. And it's like nothing. Kickstarter will not do anything for you. It just, it just
Right.
sucks. They won't do
So-
anything for you.
That's why it was important
So-
for me to show all those pages
Yeah.
in the video. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got pages, I got stuff. This actually can happen.
And it's funny because that's the whole thing. Like people like to hear, oh, we just need the money to get the book printed because all the work is done already. Because that means that your book is a sure thing. You're not really waiting for work to happen. You're just
Mhm.
waiting to get the stuff printed,
Mm-hmm.
which is a good thing.
Yeah. I know how that story ends 8 times over.
Exactly. And that's what you need to do. Oh, man. Folks, Kickstarter is an interesting project. That's why we always pull so hard for you to help support these people because, dude, you're helping dreams come true here. You get a chance to be Shadow Rabbit and help dreams happen.
Forget Shadow Rabbit. It's about Mark right now. His 30-year-old dream.
Wow.
Get some. Shadow Rabbit, I love you. I love you. But we're trying to show
Thank
Mark
you for
some love.
keeping it on topic, but I mean, wow.
Oh my God! You can tell we have fun
Wow.
here on the show. There's been a lot of geeking out here.
Shadow, look at Shadow. Look at your replacement today, throwing you under the bus. Wow. I can't wait till you replace me. You'll be like, yo, Capcom sucks, Gundam sucks, Spider-Man sucks.
Hold on. I will speak on that first one. Capcom is trash.
That's
We had
a
the
Capcom
conversation.
fan down there.
We had that
Yo.
conversation already, but it was good. It was good fun.
Yeah, Jordan's been helping a lot of projects.
Don't get me started with
Jordan
Capcom.
has 12 comics projects, 2 games projects. Yeah, this guy's been busy supporting people. Be like
Go
Jordan.
on, Jordan. Go on, Jordan, with your bad self.
Exactly. Be like Jordan. Oh man. So we are at the 15. Well, we're getting ready to go in that direction. Mark, give us your last run at this. Your last pitch. Last word.
As a past Mark said in the video, 2 warring alien races, war comes to Earth. Some teens get involved, get superpowers. The powers are very low key. It's a full story, but this is only for issue 1 as of right now. I'll actually mention the powers because I always thought that was a little fun thing. The main character, which is Natasha, the blonde, she has the power of enhanced gut. So if you have that little voice you hear all the time, that's your gut. She has an amplified version of that. A lot of the powers are not visible. They just kind of happen. Above her is Adam. He has the ability of upper human limit strength, speed, and endurance when under duress. So, under normal circumstances, he's a regular dude. But when he's in a fight, or when, let's say, you need to catch a bus or you need to pick up something, he gets that extra strength only under duress. Going further up, we have Kelly. She's my favorite because of her powers. Once again, as I mentioned, they have no idea they have these powers. They just kind of happen. She has the ability to absorb and redirect the strongest emotion in the area. So, for example, if you're in a crowd and you're at a music festival and a person is really angry, she will all of a sudden become angry. And that's why she's based off of a teenage girl, a 16-year-old bundle of emotion teenage girl. So she'll get that emotion, and then everybody else in her immediate area gets angry or afraid. Then we go down to Chris. He has the ability of uber memory. So if he sees something, he'll remember it. It's like photographic memory taken to the next step. Right. So you can take a dictionary. He can read the dictionary at a normal person's reading pace, and he'll remember each and every single word there. That does not mean that he's smarter. It just means that he remembers stuff. It's a big difference. And then going on the bottom, we have Ed. He is the most powerful because he's the 5-year-old. And as we know, the 5-year-olds have great imaginations. So he has the ability to astral project into other people's dreams while he's sleeping, or into their person while he's sleeping but they're awake. And he also is able to create physical manifestations of things out of thin air when, once again, under duress. So, for example, if he wanted to break a glass to find a toy in the toy store, he wants to break that glass, a hammer can pop in his hand, and then he'll have a hammer and break the glass. And then we have the bad guys. We have the peace-loving Forlans, which are the classic gray-skinned aliens that you can see right there. And then we have the warlike, mongering Geronians, which are the bad guys, and they're fighting with that little gem that's right there. So each one gets powers implanted into their mind, and that's how they gain powers. And it's what they deal with when it happens. And once again, as I mentioned, everything is connected. So why does this happen? Why does that happen? All the answers are there.
Dude, that's really different. You know, their powers are different than what you're looking for. Well, what's in regular comics. You know,
even back then and till today. That's why I said it actually holds up. I was like, huh,
it completely
how about
holds
that?
up. Yeah. You thought about this back then, dude, you were ahead of your time. Completely, man. That actually, that's intriguing. I can't wait to read it, actually. It sounds great.
Nice.
And where can they find you? Where can they find this? You know, besides the fact that I'm going to put the Kickstarter into the chat, you go ahead. Tell them where to look for you.
Easiest way is just Google It Came From the Radio. You can find us. We are actual radio station on 88.1 FM WARY, airing multiple nights, Monday to Friday. We're also on sci-fi.radio on Wednesdays at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are on BTD Radio, which is also an online station, on Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're on Indie Volt at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on over 40 podcast places. So if you type in It Came From the Radio, look up on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, all that stuff will pop up.
And of course, next week, Wednesday, you're doing something that you do once a month, right?
Oh yeah, thanks for reminding me. I always forget that we have every month, the second Wednesday of every month, we have a live show, courtesy of the East Meadow Public Library in East Meadow, New York. It is at 7:00. The second Wednesday of every month, we have a actress and filmmaker, Jerry Glennon. I'm sorry if I don't remember your name right now, but she is going to be our next live show guest. And you can go to the East Meadow Library website, which is www.eastmeadow.info. You can register and be part of the virtual audience, which Chris was a guest on our show during the, what was that, 5-6 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago? How long ago was that?
I want to say maybe it was even longer. It might have been like 8 months ago.
So 8 months ago, he was on it. Live show, goes all the way through. Normally, we do a show pandemic style. We gorilla it together. We do segments, slap it together, but the live show is 1 hour straight.
Yeah,
it's very fun.
Oh, definitely. I have a blast every time we go on to It Came From the Radio. It's just great fun. Listening to the show is great fun. Being on the show is great fun. Dude, do yourselves a favor. Go listen to It Came From the Radio, because you're not going to regret it. And he does a great job at bringing all that great pop and news and comic book and all that stuff to you and the guests. And there's just so much happening there.
Oh, yeah.
And Chris, where can they find you? You know, all the nitty-gritty good stuff, and your last word.
Nitty-gritty good stuff. Where you can find me at talesbeyond.com. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's just Tales Beyond. I do have a Twitter. It's called Live Tales Beyond. I'm warning anyone that follows me on Twitter, you're going to be a follower to the abyss, the never-ending nothingness. I am so horrible with Twitter.
Same here. I'm completely horrible with Twitter.
Yeah, it makes zero sense how bad I am as a writer to not be good at Twitter. But yeah, go ahead, give me a follow. Check out my stuff. Teddy's Run, Wizards. I've been hearing some good things about all of them. So other than that, I just can't wait to see what else is coming out from all these other great creators around me. And it's fun being on the show with you guys. This is my first time, I think, on this. Hopefully I'll be on It Came From the Radio again sometime soon.
You're always more than welcome.
Yeah. Same thing with Bit and Apple. You're always more than welcome. We're going to have you on the show to talk about your stuff as well, where we'll put that together. This was you guest hosting, so we can get your stuff out there. And, dude, you're a great guest host. So, anytime you want to come back on, you're more than welcome.
I really appreciate it. I think I met you guys. I met you at the EternalCon, right?
I've known you longer than that, yeah, but we actually got a chance to talk at EternalCon.
Yeah, it was So fun guys, fun crowd. Anyone that's following you guys or watching or anything, it's just I find myself very blessed, I guess you can call it, being surrounded by such awesome minions and people. So yeah,
you get to tell them about your working at the dojo.
Oh yes. For those that don't know, I am an MMA instructor.
Ooh.
So yeah,
he's got lots of stories.
I got some stories.
Can you teach me, a weak, feeble young boy, how to fight off a big, strong man?
Wax on, wax off, man.
I just pledged 15 So
thanks, man.
You're welcome. So you can put it on the screen.
And Jordan's following you on Instagram now, and It Came From the Radio. And Jordan's going to make his grand return to the show as well soon one day, because he did a great job of being a guest host as well. We love geeking out here, so if you can geek out, we'll bring you back on the show. As you saw today, it turns out that we have guests on to talk about their stuff, and then we go geek crazy and have conversations about comics, and shows and writing and everything,
Yeah, sometimes the guests can't keep up with us, but you guys sometimes looking into space, and then Ralph's got to bring us back. Okay, let's get back to
See, that was
you guys are great.
Didn't need to go. Anyways, what's your last word now, Tony? Since you decided you want to bring that up.
Ooh.
Let's see. I should do another write up next week. Talk about the books I've been reading lately. Reading a lot of good stuff. I read a manga. That's about the creators of Gundam, but it's parody. It's really funny.
Okay.
Interesting.
And I read and I got my books. The Dancer. I got the first those two issues, so I can talk about an independent comic for once, because my comic store is this small. They're not getting any indie books. So it's a
Speaking of the Dancer, Kat has her new Kickstarter starting starting soon. Yeah. So part 3 of Dancer, the colored version, will be happening soon. So check that out.
Ralph, you're spoiling it. It hasn't been fully announced.
Of course, it's been announced.
It's been hinted at, Ralph.
Spoiler alert: the Dancer dances. You know too much.
Forget everything that you heard. There's nothing going on right now.
Everybody else froze. That was so freaky.
Amazing.
Men in
Black came in.
Man, it's not like we did some talking about that over at Terrific Con, which you might see some videos of soon, hopefully.
The Men in Black are gonna come after us if you keep this up, Matt.
What are you talking about? All my videos are edited.
So, Nat, what's your final word?
Oh, my final word. All right. Well, thank you all for coming along to the show. And if you haven't watched it yet, you should come check us out at It Came From the Radio. We are live next Wednesday at oh, geez, I forgot now. Yeah.
Next Wednesday at 7:30.
Terrible.
Don't worry, Mark. I'm on the same wavelength as you. I always forget the important part. And if you haven't already, Ralph, if you may.
Okay, hold on. I'll put you up.
Yeah. Gotta do it twice today. Go follow Floofschmallow on Instagram and Twitter. She does amazing art. She finally posted something up. Look at it. It's pretty. And she has some other work coming out. So just keep following her for this amazing art that she's doing. Yeah.
Yeah, Shen does amazing work. You guys should follow her at Floofschmallow. Can't even say it. She's an amazing artist. And I'm happy that she's on with us as an Apple TV. And she had a blast at Terrificon. And, if you want, check out all the fun we had, because the trailer's already out there. Go check out Bit and Apple TV. You'll see the fun we had at Terrificon. You'll see the whole trailer. And, you check out all the amazing fun we had. Well, at least some of it. With that, I am Written Writ Ralph. This has been the Written Writ Late Right. Make sure to check out It Came From the Radio with Mark Torres, Chris Burgo's book Teddy's, Roaming Tony's write-ups, and Nat just being Nat telling dad jokes.
And don't forget to Google corgi races.
Corgi races.
Oh, right. We still got the link.
Because, of course, we know that the corgi is the hero of the book.
No, we're burning that.
Hey, again, you guys should never throw the corgi in there.
Wasn't supposed to be added.
Yo, in the green room made a joke that you see how a light is shining on the corgi. I think that's like the universe telling you to send that dog to heaven.
Well, we'll see what happens in the story.
I think that's a sign.
We'll see what happens in the story. Right now, he's being all heroic and saving people. So,
Shen is saying she loves the corgi.
I'll do what I always do. I'll
walk into the light, corgi. Walk into the light.